I'm Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to laser cut a bunch of materials from Grafix Arts. So I've got a stack of them here to experiment and play with and see how they work. So I'm going to took the 12 materials to my laser cutter and secured each of them down one at a time. I am cutting the exact same design on each of them. I designed it in Lightburn software, and I'm cutting on my OmTech 80-watt laser cutter. Please note, if you have a different cutter, your speeds and powers may vary. The first thing I'm cutting is something I've cut before, and that's the matte stencil film. You can see here that it did beautifully with a speed of 300 and a max power of 25. And I'm going to peel it up and show you that everything pretty much comes loose as intended. And I'm going to give you a look at it on some different things. Here is the packaging that film comes in, and you will note that some of this has some scorching on it. The black there is to help you see it a little bit better, the design itself. But here you can see the scorching that's on there. If you're using this as a stencil, that's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter. So that is the matte stencil film. The next material I cut was the Grafix Plastic Frosted Translucent Laser at a speed of 300 and a max power of 25. It cut out beautifully, and I did have a bit of the butterfly hang on there, but I believe that was a simple error in where something in there fell and was easy enough to cut out with a craft knife. I'm going to show you a better look at this and let you know that it had, instead of the charring on it, it had a bit of yellowing to it, but it's really hard to see. I'm going to let you have a look at it, and you'll see there's not much of that to be seen. You don't see the charring or any kind of discoloration. It worked beautifully. The third film is the Grafix Plastic Blue Translucent Laser at, again, a speed of 300 and a max power of 25. It cut beautifully. I thought it had stuck because I wasn't seeing a whole lot of space in there, but when I pulled it up, you can see everything just fell away in a gorgeous manner. It is kind of hard to see as it's cutting because of that translucentness, but I'll show you here on some white paper how great it looks. It does have a little bit of charring and some of the edges. You can see that when I show you a close-up here around some of the pieces that are a little bit closer together. So where the laser's having to go over itself several times, there's a little bit of that char and scorch mark. But otherwise, it did a wonderful job. We're going to work now with several of the Dura-brights. This first one is the white one. It has a speed of 300 and a max power of 30, so that had to come up a little bit to get through, but it fell away perfectly at this setting. I will say that the white one did leave a little bit of residue on my honeycomb metal, but that's kind of what that's there for, so it's not a huge deal for me anyway. So this is the packaging. As far as the cut, it looks really nice. There is a tiny bit of scorching on the back of it, but nothing that I felt was super major. You'll see that here. The Dura-bright Gray is our next one, and I cut it the exact same speed of 300 and max power of 30. Much like the white, it cut out very nicely at that setting. You can see that everything kind of just drops out of it. And there is a little bit of charring on it, but most of it's on the back side. I don't see a whole lot on the front of it. So here's a look at the packaging. And again, super nice cut, and looks really clean on that front side. Here's the back, where you'll see just a little bit more charring on it. The last of the Dura-brights is the black, and again I cut it at a speed of 300 and a max power of 30. It's kind of hard to see in here, but you can see it's got like a white smokiness around each of the letters when I go to pull it out here. But once I get it cut down for y'all to see, you don't even see that really. On the back side, there's a tiny bit of like a smoky looking char to it, but nothing that's super noticeable. So super nice if you want to cut something out in black. This is the Dura-lar Clear. It has a thickness of 0.010. And I cut it at a speed of 300 with a max power of 25. It is a little hard to see because it is clear, but you can see here once it's cut, there is a little bit around the edges of like a charring smokiness. You'll see that a little bit better here when I've got it on another surface. So this is what the packaging looks like. Here on this white paper, you can see the charring a little bit better around the edges. It almost has a yellow color to it because of the way it melts with the laser. I'm going to put it on the black just so you can see it, the cut itself a little bit better. But yeah, that's how that one looks. The Grafix Monoprint plates come with a film on either side of them, so before I put it in the laser cutter, I remove it, and I encourage you to remove it as well. This is a thick material at 0.030, so I cut it at a speed of 30 with a max power of 20. I did a lot of testing to come up with those numbers and encourage you to do the same. You can see there is quite a bit of smokiness around the edges of this, much like the previous one. It's more of a yellowing. You can see this did not pop out, but with a poke tool I was able to pop out all of those pieces, and you'll get to see it here. This butterfly on the left side, you'll see it here, not that one there. I cleaned it a little bit just by rubbing a soft cloth on it to remove some of that smokiness. So I encourage you to try that if that little bit of smokiness discourages you from this product. So it came off really easy. Moving from the films, I'm now working with a metallic foil board. I turned it over and flipped my image in order to cut this because of the metallic on it. So you can see that this is a little bit backwards. I cut it at a speed of 200 with a max power of 25. And it came out perfect. This is basically the thickness of a business card, so it's not something that's super hard to cut. Yeah, it worked out really beautifully because I had it on the back side, and that's where most of the charring tends to happen. You'll see you may see a little distortion on it, but that, like the previous one, rubs away pretty easily. How fun is that? These last three materials are the Grafix chipboards. This first one is a black one, and it's a little blurry because it's kind of smoky because it is a paper. I cut this one at a speed of 75 with a max power of 35. It does have a thickness of 0.055. The black does anyway. Each of the chipboards have a different thickness. And you can see these chipboards, because they are so thick, didn't pop out completely easily. I took a pokey tool and was able to get all of them to pop out pretty easy. You can play around with that speed and power as you deem fit. But this is a super fun material. I will say, because it is a paper, there is a bit of charring on the edges. When you rub your finger across them, you'll get some soot on them. So just be aware of that. The white chipboard was cut with the same speed of 75 and max power of 35. It has a thickness of 0.050 and is the thinnest of the chipboards, and you can see those pieces just kind of fell away for the most part out of it. It does have a bit more of the charring around the edges, the sootiness. You can see, yeah, that white isn't completely white anymore right where the laser cut it. Also note that the you'll see this in a second, that the white chipboard, the back side of it is a natural color. So it's not the white on both sides. So just note that if you're interested in the white chipboard. And my last laser cut of this video is the natural chipboard. It has a thickness of 0.057, is the thickest of the Grafix chipboards. Again, I cut it with a speed of 75 and a max power of 35. And again, not everything just fell away, but I was able to pop it out pretty easy. In fact, I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So here's how that variety pack of chipboard comes. You can see all 3 colors in there. And here is how this looks. There is a bit of charring on it. It's not super bad. I really love this material. It's nice and thick and yeah, very sturdy. So here I've got just a pokey tool, a T-pen or some other kind of tool would be fine to come in and just poke out any of that excess that doesn't get cut out of those things. Also, many of these materials can be cut with a craft knife or scissors or something like that if you need to cut it down. And that is it for my laser cutting. I encourage you to go check out the graficarts.com site and see what materials they have available and get any other information that you need. Thanks so much for watching this video. Bye.